Hello, good afternoon. Michael Wynn, Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Welcome to the Digital Marketing and Podcast series where we talk about digital marketing strategies and tactics to help grow your business. Today, we're going to talk about the three stages of a customer acquisition in the new normal. So, what is the new normal? Hey, think about it. We are all, well, not all, but many of us are working from home. We are staying at home more. We are trying to stay safe, to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. And as many states across the nation are seeing, spikes in Florida and Texas, and other places across the U.S., the new normal looks a little bit like getting contactless delivery, whether that's your pizza, your groceries, whatever that is, or just going online for online self-service, or, participating in video chat or Zoom meetings. We're doing a lot more cooking at home, that's for sure. And I can tell you, I mean, if you look at the grocery industry, some stores and some chains are showing a 30% increase year over year, because people are just buying more food and they're cooking it at home because restaurants are closed, or they're only at 50% capacity, or we're just worried about whether or not, the person who is 6 feet from us, might expose us to, the virus. So, and then of course we're consuming more on-demand content than ever before. Netflix is absolutely, going through the roof. YouTube videos are, they were already skyrocketing, the number two most popular search engine next to Google. And then the other kind of surprise element is an increase in outdoor activity, right? We're going out for walks more. We're going to the park more. I mean, it's the only thing we can do because we can't really go to the mall and go shopping. So we're looking for things to do, especially if you're, a family with kids, and you're trying to find things to do to, help make sure they're not driving you up the wall by, having cabin fever, like getting them outside the house. So, I mean, that's sort of painting a picture of what the new normal is. So, how do brands reach new consumers and retain their current ones in the new normal? Well, I think we can start to look at, I think it's interesting that I feel like there's a pattern that's developing, and it's not really that new. It's actually, it started even before COVID-19. Look at what Peloton did and how their whole program is centered around the idea of people coming together, using a product together, and creating this, sort of real-time engagement, this like community of people doing it together. I think that's a really interesting, kind of component, especially when you think about, when you come together, you're doing a physical activity, but you're doing it with people, together. I mean, think about all the, Zoom Friday night card games and bingo nights and, things that we've done as a community, but we've done it online together online, right? Like whether it's through Zoom or Google Meet or, whatever the platform is. So there's this component of if you're really trying to reach new customers and contain or retain your existing client base, one of the core components that you need to have as part of your engagement strategy for customer acquisition in the new normal is to have this real-time engagement, because what that ultimately does is build long-term brand equity. Because you're in this community of real-time engagement, you're not just in it for the short term, to make the sale today. It's about a much longer relationship with people who are enthusiasts about the brand or about the activity, that it centers around. Another really nice model that I think has really started to evolve and really started to grow. And it's interesting because I see brands doing it, but I also see solopreneurs doing it. And that is, creating these online communities that really fuel the engagement, but that they start with this piece of online content. Maybe it's a YouTube video, or maybe it's a Facebook Live video, or maybe it's a Twitch stream. It could be any number of those sort of real time, live broadcast, but within it, happening kind of on the side of the screen at the same time is like a chat section where people are talking about the subject matter that the person who's presenting is talking about. So they're listening to what the presenter or the person is talking about, but at the same time, they're kind of putting in their own take on the subject matter. And it's typically the tone is not one of, disagreement, because again, these people who are consuming the content, they're doing so because they are enthusiasts around the subject matter. Because the brand or the solopreneur, as the content creator, has, essentially attracted like-minded people. This is a normal behavior of online activity. We are looking for other people who are like us, right? There's enough, adversarial, and there's enough, people going at each other from different aspects of life, and that happens all the time. But right now, boy, it is so refreshing to get in a place and in a space where people are of like mind, and they're encouraging and inspiring one another, to make good decisions, or to figure out how to be better or be more efficient, or whatever the, sort of enhancement is. And so I think you see this, and then what's interesting is you see these brands and you see these solopreneurs who are taking this content, and in the comment section or in the description section of these, platforms, whether it's Facebook Live or YouTube Live, they have a bunch of links to various other pieces of content. One of the most popular and most successful methods is to create sort of that, okay, you've watched the content, you like the community chat that was happening, now go be part of this community. We've set up this community space, and they're using several different platforms. Those platforms could be a Slack channel. It could be Discord. It could be, WordPress, BuddyPress type forum. It could be a Facebook group. So it's not a one size fits all, or there's only one way to do it. There's many different ways to do it. But this is a pattern that's really starting to emerge, because we are desperately trying to find people who are of like mind, who have the same passions, who have the same interests. We are, we're seeking a way to get out, even if it's getting out online, and talk to people who are passionate about what we're passionate about, right? We can't go somewhere to a place where that conversation would normally have taken place. We're having to seek it somewhere else. And so these online communities are being built, but they start with this, content creation where there's some live, either a speaker or a presenter or just a content creator that's talking about, hey, here's what I'm passionate about, and whether they're, playing music and talking about it, or whether they're painting and, talking, or whether they're, showing the content is, it does matter, but the reason why it matters is because it's created for a very, very specific audience. It's not meant to be this, one size fits all. Hey, this is for everybody. No, this is for very specific people. You know, I mean, right now there's programs on YouTube about primitive outdoor camping, right? I mean, look at Naked and Afraid or Alone on the Discovery Channel. All these programs about people are doing crazy stuff out in the wild. And so you've got, this YouTuber who like talks about all the different things. And then, someone's Googling like how to primitive camp and they find this YouTube video and they watch it. And then they find out that this person that has this video actually has a Slack channel or a Discord channel that you can go and join and ask questions of other people. And you get into this conversation of back and forth. And it's not during business hours. Like, it's 24/7. I mean, it's open all the time. Now, you might have people that are in that, Slack channel or Discord channel at, 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning, because we're night owls or what have you. But the fact is the channel never sleeps. So again, we're talking about customer acquisition and the new normal, and brands are really having to reimagine what it looks like to engage with people, because they can't just set up an expo booth in a conference center during a conference, because that's not happening. They can't really hold an open house and have a bunch of people attend. That's not happening. So all of these platforms and all of these things, they already existed. It's just that some of these brands have never thought about creating a channel and creating content with the idea of attracting like-minded people. And then the call to action is, don't buy I'm not really trying to get you to buy anything. I want you to engage with the community of people that are surrounded around this, right? So many times there are links, in, like I said, in that, whether it's a link in a YouTube video, whether it's a link, in a Facebook Live or Twitch stream or whatever, and that link takes you to a place where you can make a choice. Now, some of the solopreneurs have the freemium model, right? Where the freemium model is, hey, you can get some of this content for free and then help support me in my passion to continue to do this because, hey, I got to pay the bills, right? And so sign up for $4.99 a month or $10 a month. You'll do it because you love what they're talking about. Like, it's your form of entertainment. So they're creating these channels, they're creating this revenue opportunity, but they're not trying, again, the whole point isn't trying to get you to get the $10 item. It's to get you to just subscribe and become part of the community. This is the real pivot of customer acquisition in the new normal. And yes, your business should absolutely try to figure out ways of how can you offer contactless delivery, or how can you offer online self-service, or how can you provide telemedicine or video chat services, or do you have on-demand content? Yes, all those things. But the long-term game plan, the long-term acquisition strategy is 100% around communities, online communities, now more than ever. Because guys, we are not going back to the old normal for a while, right? We're going to have some things that are look, similar, but it's not happening anytime soon. And again, this model, the reason why it's not going to, be a short-term burnout when things go back is because it worked before this happened. It's just now that it exists and there's, really no other outlet or avenue, it's just skyrocketing. So I really want to encourage brands and solopreneurs and businesses to think about how can we do this. So I want to lay this out. Here are the 3 stages. It's actually pretty simple when you boil it down to, okay, what we're going to do. So number 1 is to plan your content, right? So how do you plan content? Well, you need to first of all be aware of what are people interested in? What are the things that they are asking questions about? And create content around that question, right? And it could be about, the process of going through that question or wrestling with that question or looking at the data or, looking at the pros and cons or trying it out or demonstrating it or, whatever. But it's really about providing in-depth, very specific content around that very specific subject matter. And I think what's interesting now too is, just because let's say you're a bank, okay? Yeah, you could do a whole show about finances, great, and how to, balance your checkbook and, save and, thrifty, strategies and nerd wallet, whatever, right? Yeah, you could do that, but you could also create a whole channel around something that is really popular, like outdoor activities, right? Like you could literally reach out to someone who's an avid, primitive camping expert and go, hey, we'd like you to start a program around this, and we're going to pay you to create a weekly show or a daily show or 3 episodes a week or whatever the frequency is, because we really want to make sure we love what you're doing. We think it's a great, like you could literally pay the talent and create a show, right? And then of course it's presented by so-and-so bank. Great, right? So you've got that exposure show. It's not, again, this is a very fluid sort of strategy that's not, you've got to really think outside the box. You don't have to go so literal in talking about, what it is your company does. Now, it may totally be, the perfect scenario for that. But I mean, you could be a restaurant and you could do the same thing and you could talk about things to cook outdoors when you don't have, all the tools in the kitchen of a gourmet kitchen, like how to cook outdoors. You could have a whole show on how to cook outdoors. And then, so again, number one, plan your content and know that the idea behind it, the action that you want them to take is not to buy a product. That's not the goal. The goal is to have them become part of a community. Let the community and the involvement in that community encourage them. Let that be the catalyst for them to decide whatever that transactional action is that you want them to take. So, and it's okay if you want, you can have little messages in the chat. Well, and again, part of your content strategy as you're thinking about it, you can put in offers if you want. If you've got a 10% off or 20% off, and you want to put that in the chat while the video is running, that's totally fine. It's in context, right? All right, so that's the first thing you do. And then obviously you've got to have your channel set up. We've talked about Slack channel. We've talked about Discord. We've talked about, WordPress, creating your own, members only area using BuddyPress or something like that as a forum, or directing it to a members only Facebook group, something like that. And so that's really B, is setting up this channel. Once you have this channel set up, the next thing you need to do is make sure that you have a mechanism to award community contributors. So people who are regularly providing value to the community as a whole, whether that's resources or tips or advice or experience, create some kind of method or metric or awards program or incentive for them to do that. And then decide if you're going to have, the freemium model that, kind of levels up to a paid model. Think about that in your model. And again, it really, there's not a bad way to do that. So number one, plan and publish your content. Number two, have your channel set up, whether it's Slack, Discord, WordPress forum, what have you. And then number three is publish more content, right? But when you do that, again, I go back to, I did this whole video series. You could go back and listen to it. I think it's super helpful. If you've never done YouTube videos and you never really thought about YouTube search engine optimization, you need to go back and check out those 3 episodes because I go super in depth on those, on what are the best practices, because you need that. Again, because how people are going to find your video is they may search on Google, like, on the Google platform, or they may go into YouTube and search, and you want to make sure that your content is being found. So go check out that whole episode. It's 3 parts. It's really great. I highly recommend it. But when you're publishing your content, again, step 1, plan your content. Number 2, drive activity to your channels. And then number 3, publish more content. Talk about what's happening in the community. This is a super savvy move. When you talk about the big wins that are happening in your community, and a big win, that could mean, someone wins first prize in a camping tournament, or someone, has an incredible experience, or someone comes up with a great idea, or someone shares a great recipe, or, what are the good things that are happening in that community? Talk about that in the video, right? Because you're painting a picture of what it's like to be in the community. I can't stress enough, so many YouTubers and video producers and content creators, they create the video and they're trying to sell a product. That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is provide inspiration or entertainment and invite them to be part of a community. This is absolutely a long-term successful customer acquisition strategy in the new normal. So again, this is happening all over right now. This is not some new thing that I've cracked up and decided. You can go and you can find this. It's all across all kind of industries. It doesn't matter if it's, I know I've talked about outdoor camping. That's because a good friend of mine came in today and we were talking about, primitive camping, and I was watching the show Alone on the Discovery. But I mean, this is what we're doing. I was just talking to another business associate today, and they were talking. I was like, "What do you do, to make sure your kids aren't driving you up the wall?" And she's like, "We go outside, we go to the park, and it's just, this is part of the new normal." So how is your business adapting to the new normal? Are you putting on the lens of what your clients or what your prospective members or customers, how do they see the world? What's it like to live in their shoes? And if you can think about that and then sort of reverse engineer, how do we create content that helps them do it better or make it easier or less stressful, or just give a more positive and encouraging, area? An online community is absolutely the way to go. So I want to encourage you, if you've never heard of Slack, go check it out. It's free. If you've never heard of Discord, go check it out. It's free. You can learn about BuddyPress. You can install it on your website. At that part, it's free. All you got to do is look up videos on how to do it. Again, these are all things that you can do that are just going to cost you a little digital sweat equity to set up. But it will be an absolute long-term win and a huge ROI for your business, your association, your solo practice. It really doesn't matter. These 3 stages of customer acquisition in the new normal are for everybody out there. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't checked out one of my previous video episodes or podcast episodes on YouTube SEO, you absolutely need to go check that out, because that's how you're going to be found, right? I mean, you can obviously do some other digital marketing strategies to get the word out about, your new content that you're putting out. You can absolutely do that. But I want to just encourage you guys. I hope that you have found today's content helpful and insightful. Help me grow our channel and our video series. I hope you'll share this with other people in your sphere. Maybe you know someone that could be really encouraged by this podcast or this video. I hope you'll share it with them. That would really make me, that's what I do this for. I love this. I love helping other people move from where they are to where they want to go and talk about these strategies that can help you do that. Thanks, guys. My name is Michael Wynn. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RB Oppenheim Associates. I hope you have a great day and tune in next time.